Mkhize has passed away. Now, the 69-year-old Deputy Minister responsible for women, youth and persons with disabilities died this morning, but the details around her passing are not yet clear. Remember that she was appointed to this portfolio in 2019 by President Cyril Ramaphosa after the national elections. Professor Mkhize was also instrumental as the chairperson of the Andrew and the June Mlangeni Foundation. More on this story in our later bulletins. But for now, let's cross to our reporter Samkele Maseko. He's at Luthuli House, the ANC's head office in Johannesburg. Samkele, a very good morning to you. What can you tell us at this stage about the passing of Professor Mkhize? Any more details?
At this point in time, we can say that Professor Mkhize, the Deputy Minister in the Presidency, has indeed passed away, and it's unfortunate news coming from Luthuli House. I did see a message from Maurice Mukobo, who was one of the advisors of the then former Minister of Higher Education, Hlengiwe Mkhize, by advising her on the implementation of fee-free higher education. But on the matters that we are here on with at Luthuli House is that you can see ANC members coming from the Waterberg region in Limpopo, others coming from Mamelodi in Tshwane. They are here protesting over the list processes and the candidate selection processes of the African National Congress for the various ward councillors. The ANC's head of elections, Fikile Mbalula, will be briefing the media at 11 o'clock this morning on the ANC's elections manifesto and also on the list processes of the African National Congress, particularly knowing that they had failed to register candidates in 93 municipalities across the country, which is an issue that has been litigated with the IEC opening up the voter registration, which subsequently meant that the registration of candidates will also be opened. As you can see, the placards being carried by these ANC members that Lepelle sub-region in Waterberg, Mamelodi, Ward 15 in the Tshwane region, where there have been allegations of manipulation of the list and candidate and councillor candidate selection processes.
But has the ANC addressed these protesters? Because I know that yesterday some of these protesters were crying foul, requesting the ANC Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte to address them. Has she done so, though?
Well, Simpiwa, with the ANC's internal affairs being in disarray and them failing to register candidates, one can only say that Luthuli House has become a protest capital for ANC members of late over these list processes. If I'm not mistaken, from last week, on a day-to-day basis, there have been ANC members protesting outside Luthuli House on the issues of list. You've had the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, Jesse Duarte, who's out in the Western Cape campaigning for the ANC, saying that they are on track on meeting the deadlines. Once the IEC opens up once again the submission of candidates for the African National Congress and other political formations, they will meet that particular deadline. But there are disputes that have been raised by ANC members, particularly those coming from all of these fronts. I'm just going to bring in this particular lady here. Ma'am, just in essence, where are you from and why are you protesting here outside Luthuli House today, and your name as well?
Oh, Councillor Mutokwa. Thanks. I'm William Matume Mutokwa from Limpopo, Waterberg region, Lephalale sub-region, Ward number 1, the chairperson of the brand. The reason we are here at Luthuli House today, it is on the basis of manipulations of the candidate PR list that have been affected the sub-regions of Lephalale, more especially applied by the Secretary of the region. And we have realized that based on that particular challenges, we have raised numerous dispute challenges or concern to the regions and to the province, and it seems we got no joy in terms of response. Therefore, we see to it that because it affected the vulnerable community members on the ground, rather we send the message straight to Luthuli House for us to get joy, maybe respond. That will then assist us to make that the ANC becomes the parties of the people or the voice of the people ahead from the Luthuli House.
If we do not get joy, what then happens?
we are here to deliver our dispute as the sub-regions, that we need interventions from the DSG based on the manipulations process that had happened in Limpopo, Waterberg, or else Limpopo as a whole. But one other thing that we want to emphasize on the media is that it seems as if maybe the chairpersons of the province doesn't have an interest over these particular organizations, because the system has been created of launching structures, of taking branches to the processes, and also the guideline has been created, but people have violated the guidelines of the same organization. But it seems the chairpersons of the province is quiet. Same applies to what happens about issues of VBS. We have numerous challenges of VBS in our areas, people who have been doing a lot of maladministrations in the province, but since we had allegations of fraud and corruption and issues of that mutual bank of VBS, we never had the interventions of the chairpersons of the province, and it reflects that the chairperson of the province doesn't have an interest and love of the organizations and love of the masses of our province.
Essentially, you are saying that Chupung Matabata has no interest of the ANC in Limpopo.
It seems he doesn't have an interest. He was supposed to intervene and react before we arrive at Luthuli House. The province should have stood up and correct the particular manipulations that took place in our regions in Limpopo.
Thank you very much. That was a member of the ANC from Lipale, which is the Waterberg region in Limpopo, saying hard-hitting things about their provincial chairperson and Premier Stanley Matabata, as we wait for the ANC's head of elections, Fikile Mbalula, to brief us on the ANC's candidate selection processes and also their manifesto launch and their campaigns. As you can see, other political formations are already on the ground campaigning, namely the Economic Freedom Fighters with their leader Julius Malema, his deputy Floyd Shivambu, and other leaders of the EFF, Veronica Mente, Ompilo Moati, all over South Africa and the economic hub of the country, Gauteng, particularly knowing that the city of gold, the city of Ekurhuleni, the city of Tshwane were all hung in 2016. You go to Limpopo, the ANC has failed to register certain candidates in that particular province, as well in those municipalities where other political formations with the mishaps and the governing party having its affairs in disarray, they stand to benefit.
You know, Samkele, I know this is not new, because we know that all these years, I mean, every 5 years, we see the same thing about the imposition of candidate lists. Some of these protesters saying that, the ANC is now imposing the candidate lists on them. But then yesterday, Pule Mabe, the ANC national spokesperson, said that, the process of selecting councillor candidates for this year is different to the previous years, because now communities actually have a say on selecting who will be representing them in their own wards. So what's the status quo here?
Essentially, what has happened is that the ANC has embarked on a new process on the selection of candidates. A branch will sit, they will nominate names. Then those names of 3 candidates will then go to the community. The community will then have a choice of voting for their preferred candidates. Then the ANC goes back to scrutinize those lists. In most instances, the ANC would then, out of the community branch votes, ward votes within the party, the highest person who received the highest number of votes would then become the candidate for the African National Congress. Some are saying that has been manipulated and votes have been rigged.
Samkele, please hold your thoughts. I do beg your pardon. Please hold your thoughts. We'll definitely be coming to you in just a moment, because we need to take reactions over the passing of the Deputy Minister, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize. We'll definitely be going back to Samkele Maseko.